All right, guys, so I am recording this on Sunday morning. So, this is the start of day 6 of my Bernese protocol transfer from methadone and fentanyl over to buprenorphine. I'm getting close to 48 hours without fentanyl at this point. So just to review, I was supposed to start on Monday. That didn't happen, but on Tuesday I started with zero point 0.5 milligrams of Bupe, and then it went up. It doubled every day from there on out. So it was zero point 0.5 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 4, which was on Friday, 4 to 8, which was yesterday on Saturday, and today in 3 divided doses I will take 12 milligrams. So we're titrating up to 16 milligrams, and I'll talk about what's going to happen after this week later on. But anyway, going into day 2 of no fatty, and I have been awake for a really long time at this point. That daily use of fent during the first few days of this protocol was not ideal, but every day around 4 or 5 p.m., after taking the buprenorphine in the morning, I would get a little fent break, and it would let me sleep for a few hours, and it would give my body a rest. And so for a couple of days now, I haven't had that rest. So I tried to keep the lighting soft, but I look really haggard. I look exactly like what I am, which is, a junkie in withdrawal, not someone who's going through it the first time, but someone who has gone through it for years and years. So anyway, how do I feel? I'm settling into it. I feel a lot like in my 20s when I would go to treatment. I was using actual heroin at that point. I would go to treatment. They would do maybe a 5-day Suboxone taper. Usually I wanted to try recovery without maintenance. So I would raw dog it at that point. And that's exactly how I feel now on the Bupe. I feel like I went from having a pretty, moderate heroin habit in my, in my 20s, along with a lot of benzo use, to nothing. That's how I feel now on Bupe, because my opioid use has increased my tolerance so much through methadone and fent, which are incredibly potent mu opioid receptor agonists. I mean, my body's tolerance to opioids has gotten to a point that it's just ridiculous. I mean, buprenorphine produces pretty severe withdrawal in me, and buprenorphine itself is, a strong opioid. And if you take, even some tens of micrograms, if you don't have any opioid tolerance, you're going to get a really significant high from it. So anyway, all this to say, my body is very different from baseline, but I feel that same like rawness. I feel like a raw nerve. I feel like a turtle without a shell. My counselor at the clinic, Angela, who is the best counselor I've ever had, she's a social worker. She set up this whole Bernese protocol for me. She really like advocated for me. She talked about my Graves' disease and how like my lab results show that methadone just doesn't stay in my system. So really, I was a really poor candidate for methadone maintenance in the first place. But long story short, I'm sorry that these videos are so rambly, guys, but I'm just, if you know, you know. But anyway, she talked to me about like how to her, after having gotten to know me like decently intimately in a certain sense, she said I fit a lot of the criteria of this personality type called like highly sensitive individuals, HSIs, who are like usually very like artistic, into music and literature, and they're like exhausted by a lot of social interaction, and they're just very sort of inwardly turned and sensitive to changes in their internal state. And that part really caught my attention, because that's always been true. Like, yes, I have gravitated toward heroic doses of my downers of choice over the years, but when I first started taking substances, I was so sensitive to the effects of it, and like the after effects of it. Like, I remember the first time I drank a couple beers, like it felt like I was going through like heaven and then hell. It's just, I know part of that is just I have a hard time, like I experience emotions really strongly, like I talked about in another video, but I also have a hard time with distress. So when this stuff is like wearing off, it hits me so hard. But anyway, that was really interesting to hear like my personality type talked about in a non-pathological way. Like at first she was saying that, and I was like, is this like a glorified valid way to tell me I have BPD or autism? And like, no, it genuinely was not. So Anyway, thanks for that, Angela. It gets tiring sometimes thinking about yourself like in the lens of the DSM, and I've had just enough medical training. You guys know I went through my MS 1 year, so I did half of the preclinical curriculum. I did a long psych block, and it's like, man, to look at yourself in that lens and to see everything in your life as a symptom, it just really can, take the wind from yourselves. But I've had a pretty cool life on the plus side. I'll say I've been an active little molecule. I've gone all over the world. I've done all kinds of stuff and I've really enjoyed it. But it's almost like, in Pirates of the Caribbean when like Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann, they have that arrangement where Will can only I think come back to land like once every 10 years. It's like, I wrote about this on my blog, but it's like that with me and like clarity. It's like when you have a nerve and the nerve is myelinated, the electrochemical message jumps along the myelin sheath and it's like, okay, so there's a node here and a node there. And these are like moments of relative clarity and sobriety. And then in between in my life, there are just these long blurred times of me being like almost like a revenant or an automaton. And I'm waking up now and I'm looking back on these 3 years on methadone and I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, I was basically just like some kind of like hologram of Brian. You know what I mean? So it's a lot emotionally, but it's okay too. It's okay to just be hurt. I just can't soothe myself with the substance that I'm on right now, and that's fine. Weirdly enough, the algorithm delivered because last night, I never go on Insta, but I was on Insta last night and there was a quote from, I don't even remember the name of the psychiatrist, but he said like, there's no shame in wanting to be soothed. Like that's part of the factory settings. We all have that, it's just like in recovery, you cannot go to the things that soothe you, that sabotage you and kill you in the end. So that hit me at like exactly the right point. It's it's an obvious thing, but it's such a hard thing. And it's like, but I told myself yesterday I was getting that restlessness again, that the worst lingering symptom is the restlessness of my hands, and basically everything, my whole body is restless. And clonidine helps a little bit, but not too much. And I told myself last night, like, just like take a shower, I'm listening to music and it almost feels like I'm on a come up dose of E or something. Like everything is heightened. My emotions are like all over the place. And I'm like, this is not that undesirable even, like this actually feels a little bit good. If I can get past the surface physical discomfort, like the rawness and the awakeness of it, it's almost like taking a stimulant or something. So this is the kind of like mind ninja stuff I have to do to talk myself through this state, but it's okay. Yeah, guys, it's okay. So again, I'm on beginning of day 6 now. Okay, so I'm going to take a total of 12 milligrams of buprenorphine today. I took a total of 8 milligrams yesterday. And what would I have done yesterday differently, and the days before, what would I have done differently? Well, a lot of you said you're going fast. First of all, starting at 0.5 milligrams of Bupe is a relatively high dose. That's 500 micrograms. That's not really a microdose of Bupe. So I could have started a lot lower, and I could have ratcheted up over a longer period and spread out the discomfort. And the thing is, I just had to go with the protocol that these people at the clinic have. I'm not in control of it. I can't be in control of it. I'm not someone who can taper. Like, again, whenever I'm in distress, if I have substances to soothe that, I will use the substances. So I need someone else to manage it, and this is just how this PA does it. So I actually think it was good that the hard part hit me so early on, because my personality type, it's kind of like, again, taking your weaknesses and turning them into relative strengths, but I'm like I call it like extremophilism. Like I like extreme states. So like I can even take extreme discomfort for 2 or 3 days, but if you put me in moderate discomfort for like 2 to 3 weeks, I can't handle that. It feels unending and I always give in. So for me, this relatively rapid induction on the Bupe was actually, it was not so bad. So on the first couple of days, and again, I suffered so much. This has been so hard for me. But if I'm looking at it, like trying to put myself in the medical mindset clinically, none of my symptoms ever got beyond maybe a 6 or 7 out of 10 on a scale of discomfort in terms of like, I didn't have like severe vomiting. I had some nausea, but nothing that even required medication, like, diarrhea, but that's always going to happen with this kind of thing, and nothing like, catastrophic that required medical treatment. The restlessness, again, that was probably an 8 or 9 symptom, and it was driving me nuts. But the clonidine brought that down by maybe 1 or 1.5 points out of 10. So what I'm getting at is, in these videos, I think when I make them in the moment, I am, my suffering is worth so much to me. But already looking back, I can see, like, if I were looking at this clinically, like, this was not a disaster. This was actually really a successful protocol so far. So yeah. So for some people, a slower induction would probably be better. Again, your mileage is going to vary on this, but for me, it definitely worked well. What would I do differently? I would also use a Bupe only formulation. I would not use the combined Bupe and naloxone formulations. If you swallow the naloxone, you do get like 2 to 3% into your system. And although the Bupe it has much stronger affinity for the mu-opioid receptor, it's possible that some of my restless leg syndrome, that extreme restlessness, came from absorbing trace amounts, not trace amounts really, but small amounts, but significant amounts of naloxone, of Narcan, that's included in this formulation of Bupe and naloxone that I'm taking. So I would take a Bupe only formulation. That's like an insurance coverage thing and just the clinic and pharmacy thing. I didn't have any control over that, but I think it's possible that the naloxone was making the restlessness worse. And the reason I think that is because it would peak for maybe 2 to 3 hours after I took each Bupe dose, and then it would start to fade away. And naloxone has a short half-life, and so that makes a lot of sense that I was absorbing some of it was out competing the Bupe, even though not much would, like even a small amount is enough to make a heavily opioid dependent person feel significant withdrawal. So that's another thing I would do differently, is a Bupe only induction. Gabapentin, I think I had a total of maybe, I don't know, maybe 2,000 milligrams, which, 2 grams, which sounds like a lot, and it's really not for gabapentin. So I would have tried to get more gabapentin. I would have gotten Seroquel for sleep, because again, these past 2 days without the fent, there's been no sleep. I'm not sure when sleep is going to happen. It might be like another day, it might be another 2 days. I even tried Atarax yesterday and didn't work. So yeah, I would get something stronger for sleep. If you guys follow my blog, if you have been on my channel for a while, you know that I had a terrible, terrible benzo and barb habit in my 20s. I haven't taken benzos in 2 years now. They turn me, I just binge on them. I become not myself. It's the worst substance in the world for me. So I can't take benzos, but if I could, I would have taken a frickin' benzo these days. So if you're someone who can take them PRN for a few days, this is the time to do it. Same thing with Z drugs like Ambien. Again, this is not medical advice. This is just my opinion based on my own experience. And, that's valuable. I have learned so much from other people sharing their experiences. So I'm not trying to say everyone's going to have the same relief, but if you're like me and you can't take benzos or Z drugs, I would try to get some kind of muscle relaxant, maybe a cyclobenzaprine, which is a non-scheduled, it was an older antidepressant that has a really strong muscle relaxant effect. I would maybe try to get something like that, because that symptom is brutal. So yeah, that's just maybe what I would have done differently. What's next is that, I will stop my methadone on Monday. That doesn't matter. The methadone is having no effect. I've taken my take-home doses and I literally feel no different afterward. The Bupe is just too high of a dosage now, and it's too good at binding to the mu-opioid receptor. So the methadone's in my system, but I'm not feeling anything. Why am I still taking it? Well, it also has some NMDA receptor antagonism, and I thought that might help me sleep a little bit, but not working so far. So anyway, I stopped that on Monday. They have to take blood, which I have asked them not to do so far, because I'm so dehydrated, and my veins in my arms and hands are in such bad shape from shooting up for months now. So yeah, they have to do liver function tests before they will give me the Sublocade shot, and then I will get on the monthly buprenorphine injection, which is called Sublocade. The eventual goal is to get off of buprenorphine. So the reason I'm doing the shot is so that I don't have to think about taking something every day, and so that when I stop, it will just gradually leave my system as a natural taper that I don't have to consciously do, because again, I'm not someone who can control my own taper from any substance. So that might be after 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I have to stabilize on buprenorphine first, and then make sure I'm in a good place physically and mentally, and then I will take on that final step down. But Right now I feel raw but grateful for you guys, and I'm hanging in. The Fetty's out of the picture. I love you all. Thank you all for your comments and just for sticking with me. So keep you guys updated. Probably not, I'm not going to keep making a video like every day or every 2 days. I'll make another video a few more days from now when I'm a little bit further out and I can kind of give the final picture. But anyway, if this helps literally one person, it is worth it. I love you all.